Hello and welcome to the Avocado Retreat. Gene Joke here, and today I'm going through my top 10 PlayStation 1 games from back in the day. Now, getting a top 10 here was actually really difficult. I mean, there's masses of games to choose from, and selecting the 10 that actually made the list, well, like I said, it was quite a challenge. And more so than any of these other top 10 from back in the day lists, I feel that I may be missing some things out here. Now, I got a PlayStation 1 fairly early on, but also fell into a point of my life where I was moving away from gaming as well. So most of my memories of the PlayStation 1 really come in the first 2 years of its life. But enough waffle. Before I start the list, I'm going to rattle off a few honourable mentions. Starting off with Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is a game that's bounced off and on this list a number of times, but it didn't quite make the list. The same goes for Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha and its sequel. These 3D Street Fighters were actually really good. I mean, they didn't look amazing, they didn't have the looks of Tekken, and they didn't have the sort of 3D gameplay of Tekken and Virtua Fighter, but I really enjoyed the classic Street Fighter 2 style gameplay and the new characters they brought into the franchise, which obviously are no longer part of the Street Fighter franchise. They're in whatever it's called now, the Arika games. But yeah, I just didn't quite make the list. Same with Spyro the Dragon, probably my favourite 3D platformer on the PlayStation 1, but it's less where my gaming interests were at the time. One game I almost forgot was Command and Conquer, which is the first time I played any game in the series, although I had played Dune 2 elsewhere. But yeah, Command and Conquer on the PS1 was where I first played it. I absolutely loved it, but yeah, it didn't quite make the list. So the question is, what did make the list? Well, let's start off with
Number 10.
Gran Turismo. Now, I've never been a huge racing game guy, and when I do go for racing games, they tend to be a bit more arcadey. But Gran Turismo treads that fine line between your sort of simulation, your arcadey, different game modes, and it was just absolutely fantastic. And you can also include Gran Turismo 2 on here. Both are fantastic games. They look amazing, they handle brilliantly, great soundtracks. To be perfectly honest, the Gran Turismo games, well, these first two are probably the most in-depth racing games I've ever gotten into. Even the sequels and the Forza games, just, I don't know, maybe it's because I had the fun with these Gran Turismos. Nothing's done it for me since in the same way, at least not in the realistic side. There are some more arcadey ones I have really enjoyed since, probably more so, but for this style of racing, yeah, these were it. For me anyway.
Number 9.
Road Rash, the one that was ported from the 3DO. Yeah, I just said something about not being a racing game guy, but Road Rash is the exception. And I did play this game first on the 3DO, but I didn't own a 3DO myself, so when I got the chance to pick up on the PlayStation, I did, and I absolutely love this one. It's my favourite of the Road Rash games. They absolutely peaked with this one, and yeah, it's great. It's a shame none of the Road Rash games since kind of matched this. The shift into full 3D really didn't work for it. And the spiritual successors that have come out since I played, they just didn't do it for me either. This update of Road Rash really kept the classic gameplay while updating the visuals successfully. Purely a product of its time with the sound and music and just the attitude of it. It's very 90s, but yeah, I can't help but love it.
Number 8.
This is a twofer, Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 4. These space combat mission based games, well yeah, they're absolutely my jam, and I really liked the FMV sequences with Mark Hamill as the main character Maverick and a dude from Back to the Future. I doubt many people would have these in their top 10, to be perfectly honest, but I was a huge fan of these games, absolutely loved them. Like I said, they're absolutely my jam. I was really into space combat type stuff at the time. I still like it. There's not enough of these games. I mean, No Man's Sky doesn't count, sorry. I prefer the more straightforward mission structure stuff, says a huge fan of Elite. But anyway, Wing Commander, yeah, I really love these games, and I haven't played them since the PlayStation. Maybe I should see if they're available anywhere.
Number 7.
The Wipeout games, particularly Wipeout 2097. Nothing screams PlayStation 1 to me more than Wipeout. I absolutely love these games, and I don't think any Wipeout game or Wipeout clone has ever matched these original ones on the PlayStation. Sure, games look better and what have you, but the overall feel of the racing, the balance of the weapons, the music, the visual style, it all works. Again, maybe some of that is nostalgia talking, but I mean, they're very of their time really, weren't they? But I absolutely loved them then, and I still get a kick out of them now.
Number 6.
Colony Wars. Specifically the first one. I never played the other ones quite as much, only really dabbled in those. And I love it for pretty much the same reasons I like the Wing Commander games. Although I do feel that space combat was better in Colony Wars, hence it's higher up on the list. It also provides a better visual experience. There's just more impact and oomph all round. Yeah, I'm shallow. I like pretty things when they go boom.
Number 5.
Diablo. Now, I first played this a demo that was released on the PC. My brother had it and it seemed really good. So when it appeared on the PlayStation sometime later, I picked it up immediately. I wasn't sure how well it would work, but it worked surprisingly well. That really moody, atmospheric intro was intact, and the gameplay was as well. Really loved the music in the Interestrum Village or whatever it's called, and yeah, I just absolutely loved this game. I've always liked my RPGs a bit darker and, well, I suppose more like your typical Western RPGs rather than your JRPGs, so this is right up my street. To date though, I still have never played Diablo 2. Diablo 3 was pretty good. I just haven't bothered with 4 because when I get to being so much into the kind of the looting and grinding, it just loses me a bit. But the original Diablo, absolute classic.
Number 4.
Tomb Raider. Well, Tomb Raider 1 and 2. Absolutely loved these games at the time. I was really into cinematic platformers, and this essentially was the first 3D cinematic platformer. It was a natural progression, and given how 3D platforming hadn't really been nailed at the time, or was barely, I found the grid-based movement in a style of cinematic platformers worked perfectly, and I'm one of the few people that thinks the controls hold up still today. But you can watch my Evercade reviews for that. Yeah, love the games, definitely left a lasting impact, and it's been great revisiting them on the Evercade.
Number 3.
Another series as a whole thing, Tekken, particularly Tekkens 2 and 3. I mean, they're fantastic fighting games, there's a reason it became huge. Although to be perfectly honest, I lost interest in them after 4. But I'm not talking about the series as a whole. I thought these were fantastic, especially 2 or 3 as I mentioned, because they added more content from the arcade. They gave you greater depth in different game modes. There's a lot of extras and hidden things to find. Yeah, I've had an absolute blast with all of these.
Number 2.
Oddworld. Both of them, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus. Although Abe's Odyssey is the better of the 2 games, I would say, the second being sort of a rehash or an expansion upon it really. I really loved the world they're set in. Although it's cute and childish in some ways, there's a darkness to it, very much like things like the Dark Crystal or Labyrinth. There's a certain 80s fantasy charm to it. And I mentioned before that I was really into cinematic platformers, and Oddworld really built very well upon earlier 2D cinematic platformers like Prince of Persia, Flashback and Blackthorn. You can see their DNA in Oddworld, but it takes it a bit further, add in a really good story, atmospherics and a silly sense of humour as a little added touch. Yeah, these games are fantastic. I don't think any of the sequels have hit the heights of the first 2, even the remakes of these 2, New and Tasty and Soulstorm. They lacked something in the art and design. They're still very good games, but I don't know, they lost something along the line as well. And much as Odyssey wasn't great. But these 2, out and out classics.
Number 1.
Final Fantasy VII. Now, I said something about not being so keen on JRPGs and generally preferring Western RPGs. Yeah, that's very much true. There are exceptions, of course. Final Fantasy VII was my first Final Fantasy game and was pretty much my first JRPG as far as I can recall. And today is probably my favourite Final Fantasy game, although I've not played a huge amount of them. I did really like 10 as well though. Granted, I've only really played 7, 8, 10, 13, and that's about it. This game takes the top spot because it was I suppose a bunch of firsts for me. It was something different I hadn't played. The story, setting and characters have stuck with me since. Sure, the main in-game graphics aren't all that, but I find the story and everything rose above that really well. I'm sure that many people who are familiar with my tastes probably find this quite a surprising number 1 spot, but there you have it. Well, there's my top 10 PlayStation 1 games from back in the day. As I mentioned, it's quite a hard list to pinpoint down, and there's probably for many people a lot of notable exceptions. Some games simply came out after I'd gotten rid of the PlayStation and moved on to other things. Some I just really didn't like, such as Metal Gear Solid. I really did not get on with that game at all. Or Resident Evil, never got on with those games. In the same way that most people don't, or many people don't like Tomb Raider, find the tank controls awkward and clunky, I found the controls of Resident Evil horrendous and I couldn't get on with it. I even tried getting into Resident Evil 2, couldn't get on with that, and to date the only Resident Evil game that I've played and really liked was Resident Evil 7. And you might notice the absence of Soul Reaver, which if I'd had it on the PlayStation back in the day, probably would have taken the top spot, but I didn't. So it didn't. Another game that didn't make it into my honourable mentions but perhaps should have was Discworld, the point and click Discworld game with the voice of Eric Idle. Absolutely loved that, but again fell outside of my top 10. Even so, even with the honourable mentions and the games I did include, I feel like I've missed loads on the PS1. It had a very diverse library. But anyway, that's enough rambling about the PS1 for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.